Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be a little bit different from my normal stuff, because this is going to be my first and hopefully not the only storytime video. Today's subject: how I become a furry. And for those that wondering, I keep changing the text-to-speak program because of technical reason. No, this is not going to be one of those I came out as a furry video. Because A, this video is just going to be my experience of being a furry, and B, because furry is just a hobby, not a sexuality. You don't go to your parent and says, "Mom, I like Matchbox. I really like Matchbox. And I'm also addicted to crack cocaine. I hope you still love me." Most furry in the fandom treating it as a hobby and interest. I'm treating my furry interest just like my other hobby and interest. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a weird hobby. But and again, back in the day when I start collecting Hot Wheel car, everyone including my own family thought I'm weird. I even feel kind of embarrassed to go to the toy section to see the new Hot Wheel. This is somewhere in 2018 where Hot Wheel collector like me is not as common as now. In fact, nowadays the Hot Wheel collector hobby kind of a mainstream stuff nowadays. I kind of miss the old days where I can just go to the store and found couple of cool real casting vehicle, because back then I only collect real car. Before I realized some of the fantasy casting are just as cool and even cooler than the real casting. I know that's a hot take, but that's just my opinion. In fact, here's a little story. Couple of months ago I visited a gas station and then I see one of those Hot Wheel premium car. I believe it was a Honda Civic EG selling for 100 RYM. Normally the retail price for a Hot Wheel premium is 30 RYM, but genius manager decided to jack up the prices because it's Hot Wheel, it has to be expensive. For starter, with that money I can buy 2 Tomica Premium, and those Tomica Premium will look 100 times better than those Hot Wheel Premium. I know that's a hot take, but it's truth. Those Tomica Premium are more detail and cheaper. Anyways, you probably thinking, how is my furry interest will affect the channel? Spoil alert, nothing will change that much. Why? Because you come here for a Hot Wheel content, so I will give you a Hot Wheel content. Sometime I will post couple of furry related stuff, but other than that, it will be the same. Now let's talk about how I become a furry. About 3 months ago I decided to watch a 2 hours long furry iceberg video, and let's just say, everything that internet have told me about furry are a fucking lie. The first thing I know is how much wholesome furry is and how much open the furry fandom is. I have no idea what I mean by open the furry fandom is. I am writing the script at 5 AM. I am so tired. Anyway. In fact, everyone can enjoy the furry fandom no matter what interest you are. You like cars. There is a decent amount of car enthusiasts in the fandom. Some of them are literally just like me. You like music. Furry make music for all genre. In fact, the song All My Fellows are literally made by a furry. Don't believe me, search it up. You like art. The entire furry fandom is all about art. I could go all day talking about why the furry community is the coolest community ever. You see, I always like furry. But as a guilty pleasure, I like animal. I know a lot of thing about animal. I like anthropomorphic character. In fact, my favorite animal of all time is hyena. Why? Because hyena are so wholesome. You see, sometime higher ranking hyena will help the lower ranking hyena to become higher ranking. Basically, the rich help the poor just so the poor can become the rich. Anyway, after I watched that 2-hour video, let's just say, what is once a guilty pleasure is no longer a guilty pleasure. In fact, if I know the furry fandom are like this, I'll probably join the fandom much earlier. In fact, I have a theory: if the furry fandom doesn't exist, we will probably already in World War V and Earth will probably be an apocalyptic wasteland. Also, here's a little facts. Originally I'm supposed to talk about the problem with the furry fandom, but I don't think I'm qualified to talk about this. Here's the unused script, tell me in the comment what you think about it. Another thing I noticed about furry are some of them. Not all of them are working on high-paying job like the IT department and tech industry. Makes sense because some of those fursuit can cost up to $5,000. Before you say, no, you don't need a fursuit to join the fandom. In fact, not all furry even own a fursuit. Sure, I will love to get a custom fursuit off my persona in the future. And if I say in the future, I mean 5 or 10 years later. Also, I forgot to talk about why I joined the furry fandom. Here's the reason why. Number 1. I like animal and I know a lot of things about animal. You probably already know that. Number 2. I like the aesthetic and antro character in general. And plus those fursuit look really good right next to this Skyline R34. Yes, that guy did own that Skyline. Next time when those anti-furry says furry or cringe or whatever slang that you kids been using these days, show him this picture. Number 3. The community is very wholesome. Something that the internet never talk about or just completely ignore it. Number 4. The variety. I probably already told you this. Here is something for everyone. You can join the fandom for a lot of reasons. I joined the fandom because I like the aesthetic and the wholesome community. But you can also join the fandom for other reasons. Maybe you like the art, the fursuit, maybe the positive vibe, in fact due to popular beliefs. No. Just because you like antro character that doesn't mean you are furry. Let me show you a great example of that. Alpha J Show. And he's a little panda fighter review. In the beginning of the video you specifically says that he is not a furry, but that video were released 6 years ago. And if Alpha were a furry, someone better draw Alpha holding one of those I'm sorry for turning you into a furry cape. Now let's talk about my experience of being a furry. I believe the earliest memory of me seeing a furry in a YouTube video is way back in 2018 in the Hot Wheel Velocity X review by Fairly Odd Gamer. Man, I can't believe 2018 is 5 years ago. Anyway, in 2023 the first actual furry YouTuber that I watch, or don't jinx it. I watch his storytime video and it was pretty entertaining. Don't jinx it is not that active in YouTube, so that is not enough to turn me into a furry. And plus Don't Jinx It is also one of those artists that draw both NSFW and SFW art, and that didn't give me a good first impression. Remember kids, first impression is everything. And you probably thinking, how do you find that out?
That's not important.
But that until I watched the 2-hour-long video called The Biggest Furry Iceberg explained by Sarah's Things. And you know what the craziest part is? This is not even the longest iceberg video that I ever watched. That honor go to the Disney Pixar Cars Iceberg Explained 3 by T-Toy Reviews Ty. The video is 4 hours long and it's supposed to be the part 3 of Ty Cars Iceberg video. Here's a little story. I watched this 4 hours video 2 times. Once when the video was first released. Second is a Iceberg Explain Endurance where I watch all 3 of the video in one sitting. I just spent 7 or 8 hours of my life watching a Disney Pixar Cars video for no reason. Anyway, since then I have learned a lot of things about furry. Like how anti-furry exist. And it is probably the stupidest and funniest thing I heard in recent memory. If you don't know anti-furry, it's a group of furry haters mostly comply of 8-year-old and edgy 13-year-olds that apparently hate furry because they are cringe or whatever slang that you kids been using these days.
So that's how it's going to be, huh? Every year some government agent tries to take me down, put me out, or whatever slang you kids are using these days.
And the reason why I think anti-furry is the most funniest thing I heard in recent memory are because I heard a lot of horror story of anti-furry becoming a furry himself. Either because they found out that the fandom is really wholesome, or because they grow up and realize that everything that internet have told them about furry are a fucking lie. And to be honest, I don't blame you. There is so many misinformation about furry out there. Why? Because hate sale and some people are just a naturally born asshole. Remember that scene from Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace where Yoda meet Anakin Skywalker for the first time? where Yoda says something that is best described as humanity in the nutshell.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Now let's talk about my persona. Meet Ray Z Fool, aka Jaguar Enjoyer. Very original name, I know. Here a little fact. The name Ray Z Fool is come from the game Carmageddon, the PS1 version. And I believe he's only appear in one game, and that is Carmageddon PS1 version. Now the story of how this character was made is kind of weird. One time I was watching this video, and then the guy make this joke.
Man, could you imagine, like, you know, you're walking down the street and like someone in a sick fucking like sports car, like a Jaguar, you know, pulls up beside you, and then they step out and it's an actual Jaguar? Wouldn't be far off, man. Next time you see a nice car, that person is a furry. But again, why would they do?
And I was like, what if I do that for real? And what if the car was Jaguar XKR, my favorite Jaguar? And that's how Ray was born. Anyway, if you can see, Ray look pretty good for a character created by a guy that never draw a animal character before. In fact, before I even draw her, I practice little bit and make couple of this picture. Anyway, I used the free base from the artist NFT. And yes, I did read the rule. And if you can see, this guy is just as basic as you can be. I make use of my limited skill, and if you can see, I did a pretty good job. Originally the character supposed to use one of those women golf cap with the Jaguar logo, but I can't find a good stock image to use it. And yes, I know that the sunglasses and the t-shirt is a stock image, with the t-shirt being the most standout thing about my character. Now it is couple of unusual thing about my character. For starter, the name. Most people give their character a simple name, and rarely give them character a second and last name. The only character that I can remember that have a first, second and last name are Maverick the Wolf Dragon. Another unusual thing about my persona is the origin. Most persona that I see are supposed to be a representation of the creator. Basically it's a furry version of you. The best example is Beta Ada Delota third persona, Beta. In fact, it feels like a character than a persona. I make the character as far away as me as possible, even from the little detail like the car brand that he likes, and that is Jaguar. For those you that don't know, I don't really like Jaguar as a car brand. I don't hate it, in fact Jaguar make a lot of pretty cool car. I just think Jaguar car are just forgettable in my opinion, and the only reason why I make him like Jaguar is because he is a Jaguar driving a Jaguar XKR coupe, a car that I always thought looked very similar to the Jaguar E-Type. In fact, I'm working on another character called Dexter that is supposed to be my truth persona, that is based off me and supposed to be a oversaturated version of me. He's a raccoon with a clown makeup. I also have this two character I'm currently working on called Seymour Reese and Jonathan Doe. They both have very deadly disease called brand loyalty. Whereas Reese think that Chevy is the best car company ever made. Jonathan, in the other hand, think Ford is the best car company ever made. It's basically a plot of Ford versus Chevy but with furry. Anyway, another weird thing I give to my character or a bios that is supposed to be a replacement to a persona lore. Let me read it for you. Name: Ray Z Fool. Nickname: Jaguar Enjoyer. Species: Jaguar. Sex: male. Date of birth: October 16, 2002. Fun fact, that's a release date for Hot Wheel Velocity X. And for whatever reason I make the character twice as old as me. Most people don't even give his character an age, let alone a date of birth. Home country: Detroit, USA. Sexuality: boring ass straight. Favorite video game series: Test Drive. Fun fact, the reason why Ray liked the Test Drive series is because of the variety you see before the Unlimited trilogy. Test Drive was known for making very diverse game. What I mean by that, here's an example. What is Test Drive Le Mans, Test Drive 1987, Test Drive Off-Road 1, 2 and 3, Test Drive V Rally or Need for Speed V Rally if you play the PlayStation version. TD Overdrive or Test Drive 2002 in some places and Test Drive Eve of Destruction. What does all that game have in common? They are all test drive game. And that's why I and Ray love the series. In fact, I wish the series were still like that. Imagine getting a test drive game where you drive for RC car. Basically Revolt with real-world RC car. Anyway, back to the BIOS. Favorite music artist? Fatboy Slim, Junkie XL, Cirrus Pitch Shifter. Favorite music genre? Electronic rock, metal and ambient drum and bass. Favorite Twisted Metal character? TM3 Spectre. Favorite Vigilante 8 character? Chassis Blue Vertigo. Top 3 favorite cars? Jaguar XJ220, Jaguar XKR, Jaguar XK180. Top 3 Hot Wheels fantasy cars? HW Prototype 12 Reverb, Zodic. And that is Ray Z Fool aka Jaguar Enjoyer. I hope you like the character because I did have a lot of fun designing the character. And before I end off this video, I decided to make a furry YouTube video starter pack, where a hand-picked couple of furry video for introduction to the wonderful fandom. Some of this video did a better job of explaining what the furry fandom is. Now I divided the video from must-watch to optional. Must-watch is the must-watch video. And optional mean that you don't have to watch the video. You can completely skip it or watch couple of them. But not all of them. The playlist to the must-watch video will be in the description down below. And the link to the optional video will be in the description down below. Anyway, that's it for the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like what my content. And so yeah guys, bye.